Over 1,000 years ago, an accident changed the course of human history. A curious alchemist in ancient China, searching for the secret to eternal life, stumbled upon a mixture that would instead unleash the power to take life: gunpowder. From that moment on, the story of firearms began. A story of invention, war, and relentless evolution. Today, we trace that journey from the spark of the first gunpowder weapons to the precision and power of modern firearms. The birth of gunpowder. It all starts in the 9th century China. Alchemists were experimenting with saltpeter, charcoal, and sulfur, hoping to brew an elixir for immortality. What they got instead was an explosive powder that roared with fire when lit. At first, gunpowder was a novelty, used in fireworks to entertain emperors. But soon, military minds saw its potential, and the age of black powder warfare was about to begin. By the 10th century, Chinese soldiers were wielding fire lances, bamboo or metal tubes tied to spears, packed with gunpowder and sometimes bits of metal or porcelain. When ignited, they blasted fire and shrapnel toward the enemy. They were terrifying at close range, but short-lived, as the flames burned out in seconds. Still, this was the very first step toward the portable firearm. Hand cannons. Fast forward to the late 1200s, the age of the hand cannon. These were simple metal barrels mounted on wooden stocks, firing lead or stone projectiles using loose gunpowder. They were heavy. They were slow. They were wildly inaccurate. But they were the first true guns, and their power spread quickly across Asia, the Middle East, and into Europe via trade and conquest. When the Mongols stormed into battle with these weapons, the world took notice. Matchlock muskets. By the 1400s in Europe, guns had evolved into the matchlock musket. This was a game changer. A slow-burning cord, the match, was clamped into a lever. Pulling the trigger brought the match into contact with the gunpowder, firing the shot. For the first time, soldiers could aim and shoot without juggling fire and powder in their hands. Armies across the continent adopted them. The Ottoman Empire used matchlocks in its conquests, while European nations armed entire regiments. But matchlocks had flaws. The glowing match made you visible at night, and in the rain, they were nearly useless. Flintlock Revolution. In the early 1600s, France introduced the flintlock mechanism, and suddenly, guns became more reliable, faster to reload, and easier to carry. No more burning match cords. Instead, a piece of flint struck steel, creating a spark that ignited the powder. Flintlocks ruled the battlefield for nearly 2 centuries, shaping wars like the American Revolution and the Napoleonic campaigns. These weapons weren't just tools of war. They became symbols of power, elegance, and craftsmanship, with ornate designs for kings and generals. Percussion caps. In the early 1800s, another leap forward arrived: the percussion cap. A tiny copper cap filled with explosive compound replaced flint and steel entirely. When struck, it detonated, igniting the charge instantly. This made guns more dependable in all weather and sped up the rate of fire. Soldiers no longer had to worry about a weak spark or damp powder ruining their shot. Cartridges and revolvers. Then came the true revolution in gun technology: the self-contained cartridge. For centuries, loading a gun meant measuring powder, placing the ball, and packing it down. A slow, risky process. Now, the bullet, gunpowder, and primer were all in one metal casing. This allowed for repeating firearms, weapons that could fire multiple shots before reloading. Samuel Colt's revolvers became legendary in the American West, and Winchester repeating rifles armed soldiers and settlers alike. Automatic weapons. By the late 1800s, the dream of rapid, continuous fire became reality. In 1884, Hiram Maxim introduced the first fully automatic machine gun, the Maxim gun. It could fire hundreds of rounds per minute, changing the face of warfare forever. World War I saw machine guns dominate the battlefield, along with semi-automatic pistols and rifles. Modern firearms. Today, firearms have evolved into precision-engineered machines. Modern assault rifles like the AK-47 and M16 can switch between semi-automatic and fully automatic fire. Sniper rifles deliver pinpoint accuracy at over a kilometer away. Handguns are lighter, stronger, and more reliable than ever, often made from advanced polymers. And with smart optics, laser sights, and even computer-assisted aiming, firearms continue to evolve. Yet, despite all this progress, their core principle remains the same as those first-hand cannons: ignite powder, launch a projectile, and change the course of history. Conclusion: from bamboo tubes spitting fire to sleek rifles capable of hitting a target a mile away, firearms have been shaped by 1,000 years of invention, war, and necessity. They've been tools of conquest, defense, and, sometimes, survival. And while their designs have changed dramatically, one truth remains. The story of firearms is the story of humanity, our ingenuity, our conflicts, and our constant push to shape the future. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through history, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments below.